Welcome back to Narrations. Scott Lang has already proven that even the smallest hero can make a huge difference. But after his battle with the Avengers during the Sokovia conflict, Scott has paid a heavy price. Now he's under house arrest. He can't leave his home. He can't contact his superhero friends. And he certainly can't go looking for trouble. Unfortunately for Scott, trouble is about to come looking for him. Because Hank Pym and his daughter Hope have discovered a way to bring someone back from a place thought impossible to escape. Janet Van Dyne, Hank's wife, Hope's mother, the original Wasp. The story begins with Scott Lang under house arrest. After violating the Sokovia Accords and helping Captain America, Scott was sentenced to 3 years of house arrest. He has only a few days left. He spends his time at home with his daughter Cassie. Scott has turned his life around. He is no longer the reckless thief he once was. He has also started a small security company with his friends Luis, Dave, and Kurt. But his superhero career is officially over. At least, that's what he tells himself. Scott begins having strange dreams. He sees a woman he doesn't recognize. A woman standing in a strange, mysterious world. Scott doesn't understand what the dreams mean. Then he receives a message from someone he hasn't spoken to in a long time. Hank Pym. Hank tells Scott that Janet is alive. She has been trapped in the quantum realm for decades. And somehow, Scott may have made contact with her. Years earlier, Janet Van Dyne was the original Wasp. She and Hank worked together as superheroes. During a mission, a nuclear missile threatened innocent lives. The only way to stop it was to shrink beyond the normal limits of their technology. Janet went subatomic. She successfully stopped the missile. But she disappeared into the quantum realm. Hank spent decades believing she was gone forever. Until Scott Lang returned from that same mysterious dimension. Scott's survival changed everything. Hank and Hope have been working on a machine that could open a doorway into the quantum realm. Their goal is to rescue Janet. But they need one crucial component: Scott's connection to Janet. The strange visions he experienced may have been Janet sending him a message. Scott reluctantly agrees to help. But he is still under house arrest. If the police discover that he has left his house, he could go back to prison. Hope has become the new Wasp. Unlike Scott, she is highly trained. She moves with precision. She can shrink and grow. And her suit includes mechanical wings that allow her to fly. Hope is initially frustrated by Scott's lack of discipline. But she also recognizes something important. Scott has a unique connection to the quantum realm. He may be the key to finding her mother. Meanwhile, a mysterious criminal named Sonny Birch is trying to obtain Hank's technology. Birch works for powerful buyers who want access to the quantum realm. Hank refuses to sell. So Birch sends armed men after him. Hope fights them. She moves through the city at incredible speed, shrinking between attacks, flying through the air, using her blasters. Scott watches in amazement. For the first time, he truly understands why she is called the Wasp. But another threat is approaching. A mysterious woman known as Ghost. Her real name is Ava Starr. She has the ability to phase through solid objects. Her body constantly shifts between different states of matter. But the power is killing her. Ava's condition began when she was a child. Her father, Ava Starr, was a scientist working with quantum energy. An experiment went horribly wrong. A massive explosion killed Ava's parents. Ava survived. But her body was permanently damaged by quantum energy. She now lives in constant pain. She can disappear and reappear. Pass through walls. Become almost impossible to touch. But every time she uses her powers, her condition gets worse. A scientist named Bill Foster has been helping Ava. He was once a colleague of Hank Pym. He believes the quantum realm could stabilize Ava's condition. But Hank refuses to help. He believes Ava is trying to steal his research. Ava doesn't want to hurt anyone. She simply wants to survive. But desperation has made her dangerous. Scott, Hank, and Hope prepare to activate their quantum tunnel. They need to locate Janet. Scott enters the quantum realm. The world around him changes. Space seems endless. Colors and shapes become impossible to understand. Time itself behaves strangely. Scott searches for Janet. Then, he hears her voice. She tells him to remain calm. Janet is alive. And she knows exactly where she is. Janet explains that she has survived for decades by adapting to the quantum realm. But she needs a way out. Scott begins following her instructions. Just as he gets close, the connection is broken. Ava attacks. She wants access to the quantum technology. Scott is pulled back to the real world. The rescue attempt has failed. But Scott now knows one thing for certain. Janet is alive. And she is waiting for them. Hank realizes they have very little time. The quantum tunnel is becoming unstable. Ava's condition is getting worse. Birch is still hunting them. And Scott's house arrest is almost over. 3 different groups are racing toward the same technology. But only one of them can control the quantum realm. And the person Scott has been searching for may hold the key to saving all of them. Scott, Hank, and Hope have finally confirmed the impossible. Janet Van Dyne is alive. She has been trapped in the quantum realm for 30 years. And now they have a chance to bring her home. But the window is closing. The quantum tunnel is unstable. Ava Starr is desperate for the energy she needs to survive. And Sonny Birch is still trying to steal Hank's technology. Everyone is racing toward the same goal. Scott returns home briefly. His house arrest is almost over. But before he can celebrate, he receives another strange message. Janet is communicating with him again. She tells Scott that the quantum realm isn't simply an empty dimension. It contains incredible amounts of energy. And she has learned how to survive there. But she also warns him that the boundary between the quantum realm and the real world is unstable. They have to act quickly. Meanwhile, Sonny Birch discovers the location of Hank's mobile laboratory. The laboratory looks like an ordinary building. But Hank can shrink it down and carry it around like a suitcase. Birch's men attack. Hope fights them. Scott joins the battle. The tiny laboratory becomes the center of an enormous chase. Scott and Hope attempt to protect it while Birch pursues them through the streets. Eventually, Birch gets close enough to steal the laboratory. But Scott and Hope manage to recover it. The chase continues. Ava eventually captures Hank. She believes his quantum technology can save her. But Hank refuses to cooperate. He fears that extracting Janet's energy from the quantum realm could kill his wife. Ava insists that she has no choice. Every day, her body becomes less stable. Bill Foster tries to calm her down. But Ava is running out of time. Scott, Hope, and their friends eventually locate Hank. They rescue him. But now the quantum tunnel is ready. Hank and Hope prepare for their most important mission. Hank enters the quantum realm. Scott stays outside to guide the process. Hope monitors the equipment. Everything depends on keeping the tunnel open. Inside the quantum realm, Hank searches for Janet. The strange landscape surrounds him. Then, he sees her. After 30 years, Hank and Janet finally meet again. Janet reaches toward him. Hank can barely believe it. The woman he thought he had lost forever is standing in front of him. But Janet has changed. The quantum realm has given her abilities she never had before. She can manipulate quantum energy. And she immediately realizes that Ava is suffering because of the same energy. Janet tells Hank that Ava doesn't need to steal her energy. Instead, Janet can transfer some of the quantum energy already inside Ava and stabilize her condition. There may finally be a way to save her. Hank brings Janet back through the tunnel. For the first time in decades, Janet is home. Janet immediately finds Ava. She places her hands on Ava. Quantum energy flows between them. Ava's unstable body begins to settle. The pain disappears. For a brief moment, Ava is finally normal. She can breathe without suffering. Her body stops phasing uncontrollably. Janet has saved her. But before Ava can fully recover, Sonny Birch arrives. He wants Hank's technology. A massive confrontation begins. Scott and Hope fight Birch's men. Luis and the others become involved. Even though they are ordinary people, they manage to help the heroes. Birch is eventually defeated and arrested. His operation collapses. Scott's house arrest is also coming to an end. For once, it looks like everything has worked out. Hank has Janet back. Hope has reunited with her mother. Ava has been saved. Scott has protected his family. And the quantum technology is finally under control. But Scott is about to discover something important. The quantum realm still has mysteries nobody understands. Scott prepares to enter the quantum realm again. This time, he wants to collect quantum particles that Janet can use to help stabilize Ava. Hank, Janet, and Hope operate the quantum tunnel from the outside. Scott shrinks down. He enters the strange dimension. Everything goes smoothly. He collects the particles. Then he prepares to return. Scott reaches for the communication device. Hope? No response. Hank? Silence. Janet? Nothing. Scott realizes something is wrong. Outside the quantum realm, Hank, Janet, and Hope are suddenly gone. Scott is trapped. He desperately tries to contact them. But there is no answer. Scott has no idea what happened. He is alone in the quantum realm. The film suddenly cuts to the real world. Scott's friends are standing outside. Luis looks around. Something is terribly wrong. Hank, Janet, Hope. All three have disappeared. Only Scott remains trapped in the quantum realm. Then the truth becomes clear. The events are happening immediately after Thanos used the Infinity Stones. Half of all life in the universe has vanished. Hank Pym is gone. Janet Van Dyne is gone. Hope Van Dyne is gone. Scott survived only because he was inside the quantum realm. He has no idea what happened to the universe. And no one is there to bring him back. Scott looks around the quantum realm. He is completely alone. The tiny particles of light surround him. He calls for help. But nobody answers. The film ends. The story isn't quite finished. In the mid-credits scene, Scott's friends are still grieving. The world outside has changed forever. The television shows the aftermath of the mysterious disappearance of billions of people. Scott's family is gone. His friends are gone. And the Avengers have failed. But Scott is still alive. Trapped somewhere beyond normal space and time. In the final scene, the camera returns to Scott. He is still floating through the quantum realm. His face shows confusion. He doesn't know about Thanos. He doesn't know that half the universe has disappeared. He only knows that he needs to get home. And somewhere in the future, his knowledge of the quantum realm will become incredibly important. Ant-Man and the Wasp is ultimately a story about second chances. Hank gets his wife back after believing she was lost forever. Hope finally reunites with the mother she barely remembers. Scott proves that he can be both a superhero and a father. And Ava receives a chance to live without the constant pain caused by her powers. But the ending connects this seemingly light-hearted adventure directly to the darkest moment in the MCU. While the heroes were celebrating, Thanos had already changed the universe. Scott entered the quantum realm. And when he returns, the world will never be the same. If you enjoyed listening to this narration, please like, share, and subscribe for more movie stories. I'll see you in the next one.